Hello lads and lasses. Lord Windermere should really return. I have for you 4 questions, and I'm going to start with number 1. Someone asked me this on the video where I talked about number 5, 6, 7 and number 8 nibs, and asked me if I could do something similar for best clips. And although I certainly agree that would deserve its own video, there are so many different kinds of clips. Like you have this type that has this sort of metal ring all around it, and then you have a type more like this where it just comes out of the cap, and I don't know if I own every single style. I've also never really given that a lot of thought. Some reviewers are much more diligent in that regard because they kind of describe the type of clip. I think Matt Armstrong did. I'm pretty sure B.R.E does it, and maybe others too. But I don't. To me, a clip is not the most important thing, and your values or what you value in a pen kind of shines through in your reviews, I suppose. So I'll keep this very short. There are 2 types that I really like. One is the classic Visconti type. By the way, I think my camera, it has updated, and it now seems to really want to focus on my face, and I can't find a setting to turn that off. So if I put this pen close to my face, you get sort of a matrix effect, which is really freaking me out. Anyway, Visconti, Opera Master, the standard Ponte Vecchio bridge. I think it's great. It's spring-loaded. I love the shape, and it works very well. Spring-loaded clips in general I like and tend to like more than clips that are not spring-loaded. I hate stiff clips. Like, I really love my Conid, but it has a pretty stiff clip. I'm not a huge fan of that. By far, my favorite type of clip is what I call a Delta style clip, because others may have done it, but I have seen it for the first time on a Delta, and that is a clip like this that has a tiny little wheel on it. I'm going to clip this to my device so you can see this up close. This is a Leonardo Furore Grande. That's what I'm talking about. It has a little wheel. You see at the end of the clip. So here we have the clip. It starts there. You go all the way down. Try not to make you nauseous, sorry. And you have this wheel. And those wheels are super useful. This is a sweater, so it's not great. But as you can see, it just slid in there, right? Because that wheel, it works really well. Delta style, but as you can see, they're very ubiquitous on pens these days. For example, I don't know if I should say that. Leonardo uses them, and a lot of people have Leonardos, but I mean, so this is a Momento Magico, same principle, also by Leonardo. If you really want to see it on a Delta, my favorite, I think I only own one Delta, but my favorite is on this one. This is a beautiful pen, I think, the Roma Imperiale by Delta, and I really want to show you this up close. This is also a wheel, but this almost looks like a ball. I love the way they did this. I find this very refined, and the clip in general has this beautiful shape. Now, as I said, beyond that I don't really care about clips, so if you don't mind, I'll leave it at that. And someone else should probably do a video on clips when they actually know what they're talking about. I don't feel that I'm that person. I've never, again, as I said, haven't really given that much thought. Okay, next topic. Is there a red line beyond which you would say it's enough? And this was actually asked us, and you can just say yes or no. This was referring to negative comments on YouTube. I don't want to go off on a rant. I don't want to say anything super negative. So let me say this. There probably is a line you draw in the sand where, as a YouTube person, I don't like YouTuber. So as a YouTube person, a person on YouTube, you say, okay, this I can handle, after that it's too much. And certain people in the past have certainly reached their limits, not just in the pen community, but everywhere. I've seen, for example, once a video that someone sent me was a person on YouTube with a large following, way bigger than mine. In a nutshell, his house burned down, people sent him money, he went to Disneyland. That was a pre-planned trip, that predated the fire, and then people said, oh, this is how you're spending the money that people sent you. And in reality, the money everyone had sent was in a bank account, because this person was actually a bit embarrassed that strangers had sent him money after a house fire. And I thought that was very good. And he ended up kind of saying, well, this is it for me, because I'm now making videos thinking they will say this to that and respond this to that, and I can't handle that negativity anymore. I feel that I have not reached that stage, but I will certainly say, yes, I do think about, if I'm going to say this in a video, someone may say that. But I've also come to accept, especially recently, I would say last year and a half, maybe 2 years, it's just the way it is. My duty, and I use that word lightly, as a reviewer is to give you an opinion on a pen. I try to be as objective as I can be, but my opinion will shine through, and people will disagree with that. Hey, it's been like that since people developed language, maybe even before that. So it doesn't truly matter. And you have to take my stuff with a grain of salt, just like you would take any reviewer's stuff with a grain of salt, because he may like that, and she may not like that, and she may like that. And, you know, you can't get through that. So you accept that. And I'm sure there is a moment that I might say, okay, now that does it, I'm done. But I'm not even close to reaching that moment. This is a relatively minor. It's certainly the case that if you've had a difficult, stressful day, and you come home to 2 or 3 really mean and unpleasant comments on YouTube, it doesn't help. But I'm better and better at putting that kind of stuff in perspective. So there you go. This is a question that I thought was kind of a fun one. Imagine you'd find yourself in an Ibiza tattoo parlor. What would you get tattooed and where? Do you think, this is a question for you, I'll give you a second to answer here. Do you think I have any tattoos? Talk amongst yourselves. Stop talking. Okay, I don't. I don't. No piercings either, because that's going to be the next question. Where are you going to have a piercing if you would wait? Anyway, I've also not ever really had the desire to get a tattoo. But I also understand this was somewhat of a comical question, but I just don't know. I don't think there is anything in life that I feel I have such a short-term memory for that I would need to get it tattooed on my body to remember it. I'm certainly not making fun of anything, and I really understand the deep meaning that tattoos can have for people. But they don't for me. I don't feel the need. And that's just my opinion. I have nothing against tattoos, and I again emphasize, I understand how deep the connection is to whatever it is that some people get tattooed on themselves, whatever that may be. If you were to put a gun to my head and would say you have to get a tattoo, then I would like probably this one. Ο κόσμος αλλίωσης, ο βίος υπόλοιψης. The universe is change, and life is opinion. From the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And that I have found a very powerful phrase. He actually didn't write that. I think it was maybe Democritus. Anyway, Marcus Aurelius quotes it in the Meditations. And I remember the first time I read that, I was lying in bed. It was a Dutch translation of the book the Meditations I was reading. First time I read Marcus Aurelius, and I remember actually having goosebumps. That entire section is that comes from, it's probably my favorite section in the entire book. That I find a very powerful message. Everything is constantly in flux, and everything is opinion. So at the end of the day, what does anything truly matter in the grand scheme of things, which is not meant as a sort of excuse to do whatever you want, but it is a good thing to be mindful of, I think. So that, they have it. And where? I come up with very interesting answers here. I don't care where. Probably not my forehead, though. Okay, final question for today, because I've already blabbered on way too much. A very good question. You've been in this game for a while. Are there any pens you might be looking for or maybe even would want to keep? I really wish I had a clear answer. I really wish I could say, yeah, you know what, this is the one pen that I'm looking for that I would just love to have. But really, I don't. I think I'm done. I certainly enjoy pens, but here's the thing. I've said something like this before, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to have a sip of water. I forget that every time I do this, I get squirted all over my face. I prefer to enjoy what I have to pursuing things that I might never obtain. And this is a very stoic thought, but it's something I found very helpful. Now, depending on where you are in pen collecting, I don't think it's a collection. Mine is truly an accumulation. That always annoys people. But where you are, things may be different. When I started out, I wanted to try every filling system and every type of nib and every material of nib and all that kind of stuff. Of course, you sample everything. It's how it works. You start to explore. But then, I've talked about this before too, once you're done exploring, you tend to start exploiting. You exploit what you have. I have a modest collection. I say modest only because it's not hundreds of pens. It's not even 100 pens. I don't even think it's 50 pens. It's more than anyone would ever need, but I have what I love, and that's very important to me. Enjoying what you have is kind of a given, but pursuing things you may never obtain to some people is very exciting, but to me it's not. It just makes me stressful. I recently got this pen. I will review it. I don't know what'll go up first, the review or this video, so you have to forgive me. But I recently got this pen. I bought it 2 years ago, and because of the pandemic, all kinds of logistics happened. I just got it now, so I had to wait for it for 2 years. This is a Conway Stewart Great Exhibition, and this is a large pen. This is a Pilot Metropolitan. So this is a large pen. And this is a pen I've wanted since 2017. Yes, when I was at the DC Pen Show. It's beautiful. It's huge. I love it. I wanted it for a really long time. They're very expensive. I found one for, in my mind, an amazing deal because I really was well under what they typically go for. Just a coincidence. On eBay, the right time in the right place, and I got it. And that really was a pen that I've kind of desired for a long time. But after that, I think that's kind of it. And I still enjoy pens, but again, I enjoy using what I have. Now, I'm incredibly spoiled, and I don't take that lightly. I've been reviewing fountain pens since January 2011. So, in that good decade, I've been sent all kinds of stuff. Lent a lot of things. Don't think that everything gets sent to me I get to keep, because that's not the case. But I have used hundreds of pens. I've been allowed to use hundreds of pens, ranging from $3 pens to $3,000 pens, and pretty much everything in between. I don't think that has made me spoiled, but it has made me very selective in what I keep, and those things I keep have to really knock me off my socks. Is that the expression? Blow me? No, that's no. Blow me out of the water. I'm mixing up. It's been a long day. I'm mixing up the idiom. You know what I mean? Like, blow my mind. Let's put it that way. Got away with that. That's what matters. And the pens I have either blow my mind, or I have an emotional attachment to, or both. And that matters a lot more to me than pursuing the next finish of this pen or the next this or the next that. I've gone down that rabbit hole where at some point I had, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 6 Opera Masters, beautiful pen. But I really only need one. Your mileage may vary. Maybe you collect certain pens. That's fantastic. Then you should absolutely do that if that's what brings you enjoyment, but it does not bring me enjoyment, because then there's another master, and then I can become a bit obsessive, and then I want to have a complete collection, and that is just not something I wish to pursue. So I purchased that pen, the Conway Stewart, I think June 2020. I don't think I've purchased a pen since. May not have returned 1 or 2 pens that were lent to me for review by companies, but I haven't purchased anything, and I'm just joking here. So again, I'm in a complicated position, but that is where I come from, and I would like you to give that some thought. What matters most to you? And maybe you can let me know in the comments what matters more to you, enjoying what you have or pursuing new things. There is no judgment, because I certainly understand both perspectives, but for me it's that enjoyment that matters most. Okay, I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Oh, any other questions? Leave them below. That too. Thank you.